Okay, now we're putting the spotlight on India's electronics industry. The domestic picture is fine. We keep talking about it. But it's really the export situation that one has to understand and address as well. Dixon Technologies is the next company on our radar. Now, HSBC believes that reciprocal tariffs are a potential blessing in disguise, given higher tariffs on mainland China, Vietnam, and Thailand. Let's try and understand this with Saurabh Gupta, who's the Chief Financial Officer at Dixon Technologies. Saurabh, great to have you on. So as you can see from our previous conversations, humor, hope, philosophy, we're relying on everything to get us through this morning. I'll start with some basic stats. And the numbers that I have in front of me indicate that our electronics exports to the US were $10 billion last year. Out of that, more than half was just mobile phones, about 5.6 billion were mobile phones. How is the electronics industry looking at what's going on? Should we really take hope in the fact that there is maybe a tariff war with China, so the Indian electronics industry will still be better off at 26% additional tariff?
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. We have also studied it, and definitely we feel that we are in a slightly more advantageous position, more favorable as compared to the export manufacturing nations, especially in electronics, which is China, Vietnam, Thailand, and all. So clearly, it's an advantage for us, and we think India, over a period of time, can strengthen its position both in the trade and the manufacturing. And clearly, the level of interest has increased. And we are seeing that globally now the companies will increase their diversification from China and invest more in India as far as the manufacturing sector is concerned.
But just a slightly deeper point on this, Saurabh, how would you expect this to play out? And tell us about your exposure as well. I mean, out of Dixon's total revenue, how much is exports? Within that, are you catering to the US market as of now or not? And then what happens? I mean, as of now, that number is 26%. In some other sectors, like, for instance, auto, Tata Motors has stopped its JLR shipments till they figure out how to deal with this. For electronics exporters, yourself included, what changes on ground?
Yeah, so for us, I think so our anchor customer, which is, so first of all, our revenues to US markets for our anchor customer in mobiles is almost 5% of our revenues. So broadly 1,600, 1,700 crores is what we did in the last financial year. And that same anchor customer has now told us to expand our capacities because they have a large manufacturing footprint in China. They were already shifting some part of it, and we had some decent exports last year. But then now they want us to significantly expand our capacities, and they want us to do a higher portion of their global requirements from India.
Saurabh, hi. Good morning. Interesting times, right? May we live in interesting times. But I think that's so
crazy times. Interesting times are great, but are we living in crazy times?
But that saying, I think, is used as it's not meant as a compliment. It's used as a curse. I think, but Saurabh, so, apart from the direct kind of implications, right? How, just to your mind, how will this, if tariffs, so baseline is, if there is a baseline, is that eventually something will get done and tariffs will be brought lower. But with China, because they have a $500 billion deficit with the US, it's much more uncertain. They've already announced retaliatory tariffs, etc., right? What are second order, third order kind of implications over the next couple of years for the EMS industry, in your opinion? Go on.
I think so. India will do a good job relatively. Of course, we're talking about relative today because I feel that India will advance its trade deal with the US, and they are talking about autumn 25. Also, I think so the interest levels in India has significantly increased. India is presently pursuing a lot of these trade deals, almost 7 trade deals right now, whether it's EU, UK, or whether it's New Zealand or even Qatar and GCC have shown their interest. So my sense is, definitely globally, there'll be alignment of the supply chains because tariffs are here to stay. My sense is, of course, it'll of course with Trump, you can always not sure, but my sense is India will always be in an advantageous position, and within India, I think so we will take a larger share of that overall opportunity pie.
Saurabh, have you had conversations? I'm guessing some, phone lines must have been worked, right, since all this started playing out 2nd April onwards, with this large anchor client in the US. Have you arrived at how much of this perhaps has to be passed on to the end customer? How can, say, Dixon as the vendor, absorb? How much can the US client absorb? And how much is the final hit to the customer? Therefore, is there a hit on potential demand, potential volumes going down?
Those discussions have not happened so far. The only discussions that have happened is they have asked us to expand these capacities, and which we are doing right now. And hopefully, our numbers of the export volume should go up. But yes, you are absolutely right. I think so. Somebody in the value chain, everybody in the value chain has to take some part of the hit. Now, how much hit everybody takes, it's something that one will get to know over the period. Yeah.
All right, Saurabh, very quickly, focusing on the domestic new PLI that's been sent to the cabinet for approval. What thoughts out there? If you could tell us how you're planning to address it, investments you're planning to put in?
Yeah, so Nigel, the detailed guidelines should come out in the next couple of weeks. They have broadly announced the contours of the scheme. So as far as Dixon is concerned, we are very much committed, and we'll be making significant investments to the tune of almost 1,000 odd crores in the next 2.5 years, led by display, where we've already signed up with a technology partner in China called HKC. So we'll be doing mobile displays, IT hardware displays, and TV displays. And similarly, we are in pursuing partnership on the camera module side. And similarly, we would also look at other components which are also part of the component PLI. But as of now, this camera modules and display is something that we are really working on.
All right. Saurabh, we'll invite you back as the story progresses. But I think point taken. Eventually, over a period of time, we gain share in terms of manufacturing and supply chains shifting out, because this seems to be a lot more protracted with China and US specifically as opposed to anybody else. Of course, I mean, they've also got the largest deficits with the US surplus in the case of China with the US. Well.